You were with me yesterday. You know, we were talking a lot about rain chances that are on the way for the end of the weekend and the early portion of next work week. So I'm going to talk a lot about those because the closer we get to these days, the more information we're going to have, especially about rainfall totals, amount, where exactly we're going to see it, etc. So we're going to talk all about that, but we're going to start with what we see right now across the area, which is a very similar story to yesterday. Almost completely uninterrupted sunshine and blue skies across all 4 sky cams right now. You can see also the breeze blowing around on the water at the fairgrounds. We're going to talk about that as well. But across all 4 sky cams, it's not too much of a different story. Almost every single spot has pretty much the same picture this midday, which is just blue skies and plenty of sunshine out there. The one thing, and I mentioned this yesterday and kind of been talking about this a lot today, that you can't see is the thing that you probably feel the most stepping out your door today. We have this cool air that's stretched all the way down into the southeast here and in the central Georgia area. That has made temperatures very frigid this morning. Now what you see on the temperature map may not look super chilly, but upper 40s, low 50s in a couple of spots with the wind chill that we have out there is actually feeling a lot cooler than it looks. You can see the wind gusts right now are actually over 20 miles an hour at times. The wind gusts are the numbers here in yellow. These sustained winds are the numbers there in white. So we've got a pretty good sustained wind already out there. And then we get these wind gusts from time to time that just have a little bit of a chill to them. The feels like numbers are a lot cooler because of the wind chill out there, and also just because of how dry the air is in general, how cool the air itself feels. It's pretty close to actual value, but about 4 or 5 degrees cooler than where the actual air temperature is sitting right now. So it feels only just above the 30s out there at midday today, and I don't think it's going to feel too much warmer throughout the rest of the day. Now we've kind of already been introduced to this colder snap. We had 70s earlier this week, but yesterday we had temperatures that were only in the 50s into the afternoon. Even still, today is actually a couple of degrees cooler. So you can see across the area close to almost exactly 5 to maybe 6 or 7 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. So if you feel like, oh my goodness, yesterday was cool, but today's feeling even cooler, you're not making that up. It actually is going to be a couple of degrees cooler through the entire day today, but temperatures are basically going to be the only change. High yesterday was 59 degrees. Today's high is only going to be 54 degrees. So yes, it's a little bit cooler, but that's actually going to be one of the only differences in terms of the forecast from yesterday to today. Everything else that you see, sunny skies, the breeze out there, and just generally it feeling cool, is basically a rinse and repeat from what we experienced yesterday. So a very similar forecast will be in store for the rest of today. And then as we head into Saturday, kind of kick off the upcoming weekend, it's the same story once again. So we're going to be on this pattern through about tomorrow until we hit a change heading into Sunday. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. It is going to be a change that comes in the form of rain chances and also a little bit of a change in temperatures as well. So right now, obviously, rain chances are not a thing on the forefront of our minds. We've got this clear satellite and radar. We've got a high pressure system set up on top of us right now, and that's just left things nice, calm, and quiet here across our area, honestly across our entire state as well. When we kind of take away the clouds on the satellite and radar and just make it the radar, you can see that there's nothing out there right now. And the good news is for the rest of Black Friday, if you're trying to get out and enjoy shopping or you're just trying to enjoy your holiday weekend outdoors today, you should have no problem with rain chances into this afternoon. We will stay completely dry. Later tonight, there may be a couple of clouds out there, but other than that, you have nothing to worry about weather-wise for Black Friday. It's going to be calm, again, just a little breezy, but other than that, there's nothing on the way in terms of rain chances today. It's going to be a similar story tomorrow. Remember, I mentioned this carries us all the way into Saturday as well. It's kind of a rinse and repeat Thursday all the way through Saturday. So Saturday is the same exact thing as well. You can see some clouds here on the future view. So the main thing that you may notice in the sky is a couple more passing clouds on Saturday, but in terms of having actual rain chances, we shouldn't have any for Saturday either. So in terms of the holiday weekend, if you're looking for the best 2 days to enjoy outdoor activities, it's going to be today and it's going to be tomorrow. Remember, Sunday is the day that everything starts to change and we start to have rain chances in the picture. So without me hyping it up anymore, let's talk about what Sunday is going to look like. The main thing that you probably notice is just that it's not going to look as nice outside. Right now we have these crystal clear blue skies with only a couple of high clouds from time to time. Sunday, that all starts to look a little bit cloudier. You definitely may have some peaks of sunshine from time to time, but overall, you're going to have to deal with a lot more cloud cover for Sunday. And honestly, the sky is looking like they might drop a shower is probably going to be the main thing for Sunday. We actually won't have as much rain as it may seem like. You can see embedded within some of this cloud cover, there's 1 or 2 really small showers there, and that's kind of the most in terms of what we're talking about for the day. You can see this big swath of rain that's further towards the north. We have a cold front that starts pushing towards us, but by the time it really gets to central Georgia, all this that you see here in green, even though it looks like it's got really good coverage, is actually just some really, really light rain. And I'll show you the rainfall totals here in just a minute to kind of emphasize that point. So why do I say that at all? It's because I don't want you to go into Sunday thinking it's going to be a total washout of a day. We've got these widespread rain chances. It's going to be super rainy. It definitely is going to look a little bit grosser. The clouds might look like they could drop a shower from time to time, but overall, the chances of you actually getting a pouring rain shower are pretty low. You may have to deal with a pesky drizzle from time to time throughout Sunday, but other than that, the rain chances themselves are fairly low. So if you actually do need to be outside on Sunday, you should still be able to do it. You just might have to duck and dodge a pesky, irritating shower from time to time. Other than that, Sunday is a fairly dry day. So remember, I told you I would show you the rainfall totals, but before I do that, I want to emphasize also another reason that we're focused on rainfall totals, which is the drought conditions that are alive and well across our area right now. We are in abnormally or moderate drought conditions for our northern counties up here, but the majority of central Georgia is under a severe drought right now. And once we get the new drought monitor sometime early next week, that's when we're probably going to see a lot more counties get added into this red category, which is the extreme drought. So rainfall is something that we really need. We had an exceptionally dry September, and kind of since then we've been on this trajectory of just not seeing enough rainfall when we actually happen to get rainfall events. So it's kind of the same situation for Sunday. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the rainfall event that brings us out of the drought. Watch as this front comes through on the future view projected rainfall totals. Not looking very impressive, huh? I mean, a lot of what falls could be really light to trace amount, so I'm talking like maybe a drizzle. In the heaviest spots, I think we could get close to maybe ½ an inch of rain. This is probably undershooting it just a touch, but overall, the trend here is that we'll be lucky to see anything that actually accumulates into anything at all. It's going to be a very light rain at most, so I tell you that to tell you for 2 reasons. 1, it's not going to be the thing that kind of kicks us out of our drought conditions. 2, it shouldn't really get in the way of you having plans or anything like that. The only thing that it may do is cause a little bit of a headache if you are commuting back into town from Thanksgiving travel. Again, I kind of show, I'll jump back to the rainfall totals here just for a minute, because you may remember that we did have rain earlier this week, and this is what we amounted from the entire event. In the heaviest spot that I could find, maybe 1.5 inches of rain. Now these are radar projected total, so could potentially be a little bit lower than that. But obviously the trend here is that the heaviest rain stayed out towards the west. Over here in LaGrange, they saw around 3 inches of rain. In our area, we get this kind of spotty blue, and that's kind of what we're expecting to see for Sunday. The good news is we actually do have some change on the way for Monday and for Tuesday. We've got a better, more promising rainfall event heading our direction for both of those days. So right now, the Monday-Tuesday event has a couple of uncertainties. I know we hate to talk about that, but let's address what those uncertainties are. The first one is going to be the timing of this thing. What's happening is we've got this low pressure system that kind of tracks across a lot of the southeast. We're not really 100% sure, or the models aren't in a total agreement about what time this is actually going to come through central Georgia. The latest agreement, and what's kind of been trending this way throughout this morning, is that this happens sometime Monday evening and carries over into most of the day on Tuesday. So the rain chances that you see right now are kind of a Monday evening, most of the day Tuesday type of situation. That has stayed the same for a couple of model runs. So that's looking to be pretty promising as to what this event could be like. But there's a world in which this is kind of an all-day Monday thing or just an all-day Tuesday thing. We kind of just have to see what the agreement looks like as we get a couple more model runs here. We will definitely have a better answer by the time we get into probably honestly tomorrow and the weekend. There should be more certainty on that. But despite the timing, it's a Monday-Tuesday situation, and we know that for certain. And we're getting a much better idea that this could bring some better rainfall totals into our area. So in terms of the 7-day in general, you have Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday with rain chances on there. Sunday probably won't be a super promising rainfall event. Monday and Tuesday look like they could get in your way a little bit more. So that's a look at that on the long range models there. The latest thinking is that this moves out sometime Tuesday, and then we're clear heading into Wednesday and heading into Thursday. Potentially another rain chance on the way for Friday. That's beyond the 7-day. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But let's look at the projected rainfall totals from this specific event. So this does take into account Sunday's rainfall event, but again, you saw we're not expecting to see a lot from that. The good news is yesterday when I showed this map with the GFS model, again, I kind of want you to focus here on just the colors. So when we have long range models, they're not very good at going county by county and saying who's exactly going to see certain rainfall totals. With long range models, it's better to just kind of look at the shading and to take the trends that these models have picked up on. So let's pay attention to the colors here. The map up here is going to show you we're between this blue and purple color. So between 1 inch to 2 inches, that is really good. That's definitely the most promising that we've seen in the last couple of rainfall events. We tend to steer closer to this green, and honestly, sometimes we don't have shading at all. So when we're looking at this trend with the latest GFS models, we're trending closer to the purple category. I even saw a couple of reds when I was looking at the European model. All this really means is that the models are kind of picking up on this actually bringing us a substantial amount of rain to our area. We'll talk about the European model as well, just to show you a similar thinking from a different model. And actually, if you kind of just paid attention to the shading on both of those, it's a pretty similar idea that this is going to track right across the center of the state, probably bringing the heaviest totals maybe to our area or just north. But we're well into the blue category, which we will take. That means that we're close to seeing maybe 1 inch or over amount of rainfall. So that's kind of why the thinking here is that the second rainfall event is going to be a little bit more promising. It definitely has better signs of bringing us higher rainfall totals, at least in that Monday, Tuesday timeframe, while that low pressure system tracks across the southeast. So potentially could have some impacts if you are planning on doing things outdoors or you're traveling on Monday or Tuesday. Just in general, if you have interest in if it's going to rain on Monday and Tuesday, those are probably going to be the better days in terms of rainfall that actually ends up accumulating or ends up having a little bit of an impact. The reason I say that at all in terms of traveling is because I know we are still kind of in the holiday travel time frame here. This is taken straight from the Georgia Department of Transportation website. We obviously made it our own, but this is their information. So they project, excuse me, which days of the travel period are going to be the worst in terms of traffic. So as you can see, Friday is expected to be a pretty light day. If you're traveling today, you shouldn't really have, excuse me, I've got a little bit of a tickle in my throat. You shouldn't really have much of an issue with any traveling on Friday, but as we head into the weekend, that's just generally when traffic tends to pick up altogether. So heading into Saturday and heading into Sunday, that is when traffic usually just kind of takes a little bit of an uptick. So the reason that I show you this is to show you those are already supposed to be kind of heavy traffic days. And then on Sunday, what is supposed to be the heaviest traffic day, we're introducing at least a little bit of a rain chance. So I wanted to show you that to show you if for some reason you're thinking about moving your travel plans and you could get out a little bit earlier, Saturday would definitely be the better day to travel. But you can see the heaviest congestion here is from 12 to 8 p.m. So I wanted to show you big picture what that system that's heading towards us on Sunday looks like in case you have interest traveling out towards the west or traveling up towards the north. Now I will say, though this brings us a very minuscule rain chance for Sunday, if you are heading up to places like Illinois, further up towards the north, they are going to have a pretty big snowfall event. In fact, I probably should have zoomed the map out a little bit, but you can see it just at the top of this banner here. There is a larger low pressure system that this is all a part of that brings a lot of snowfall up into the north of the United States. So if you've got interest up there, if you're flying, anything like that, they're going to have their own little bit of a headache. But if you're driving into neighboring states, just be aware that by Saturday night, heading into early Sunday, this front starts to creep through those states, and it will bring some heavier rainfall out towards the west, potentially up towards the north as well. Obviously, again, it's not much by the time it gets to us, but you know how it goes when you're driving. When it's raining, you got to use a little bit of extra precaution, drive a little slower. So I just wanted to kind of show that big picture to show you that that may play a little bit of a role on traffic on Sunday, and it's already going to be a bit of a trafficy day. So Temperature or rainfall wise, that's what we're expecting to see here through the weekend and into the early work week. We'll get a lot more fine-tuned details about the early portion of the work week as we climb into the upcoming weekend. So by tomorrow, I think we'll have some pretty good answers, at least about Monday, and then we'll see about Tuesday as well. So that kind of takes care of rainfall here. But we are on this cold snap, which is kind of the focus of the forecast right now because it's sunny skies outside, but you can feel the temperatures are really cool. So yesterday's high temperature, I mentioned this earlier, was 59 degrees. Today we're expected to be cooler than that. But no matter what, yesterday or today, we are below average for this time of year. We're actually supposed to be hanging out somewhere in the mid 60s, and the overnight lows have been a little bit cool as well. Definitely cool this morning. I think that the overnight low was probably somewhere in the upper 20s this morning. So if it feels like it's a little bit extra cool, it is. We're actually supposed to be a touch warmer than this around this time of year. And heading into the next couple of days, we're going to stay somewhere around the same number. So still below average for this time of year. The only exception here is Sunday. With the rain chance that comes through on Sunday, all the cloud cover, just generally a little bit of a change in our atmosphere. We do just barely jump up to the upper 60s before we're right back to the low 60s and then eventually the upper 50s for next week. So there's not too much of a variation going on in terms of high temperatures through the next couple of days. If you're sick of the cold, it's here to stay. We don't really have any 70s in sight, at least on the long range forecast. We're kind of expecting to stay right around this number. So overall, not too many changes in the high temperature department, but definitely some changes in the low temperature department for sure. You may have noticed this morning was very, very cold. Low temperatures were in the upper 20s, like I said, somewhere around 28 or 29 early this morning. Same kind of situation is on the way for Saturday morning. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to be really frigid and below or near freezing for most. Once again, if you have to be out early, pack a jacket, pack the gloves. You're not being dramatic. It is cold. And if not, just kind of go ahead and put your cold weather practices back in place, bump your heat up, cover your pipes, bring in your plants, all the things that we say for cold weather. Just kind of go ahead and do that for Saturday morning. Luckily, we warm up a little bit heading into the end of the weekend and the early portion of the work week. The overnights don't get quite that cold, much closer to average for this time of year. Obviously still a little chilly, but nowhere near the 20s for the rest of the week. So we're back in the 30s and the low 40s by early next week. So that just is kind of show you the temperature trends there. Obviously there won't be a huge spread in the afternoon, but as we head into the early mornings, you're going to notice a difference there, at least especially in the early portion of the work week. So this is what it is all said and done here on the 7-day forecast. Obviously we're dry through tomorrow and through today. Heading into Sunday, it's that kind of low end rain chance, but the skies probably won't look so nice. Monday and Tuesday, I've only gone up about 10% just while we don't have as much information right now, but you will likely see both of these rainfall chances turn into something a little bit higher as we head into the weekend. And you may see these numbers differ from each other depending on when that low pressure system starts to track into our area. It may be more of a Tuesday thing than a Monday thing. We'll get more details on that at least by tomorrow or by Sunday. So that's kind of the rainfall chances for the next couple of days. We dry back out for the rest of the week. Obviously not a huge variation in temperatures, but you will notice a difference in the overnight lows, namely that they make their way back up closer to average for this time of year. And then next week, when you're heading back to work, obviously we kind of have that messy start to the work week, but there should be clear skies as we head into the end of the work week. So for the first time in a while, finally kind of something going on in the area in terms of rain chances. Like I've been repeating so many times, we're going to get a lot more details as we head into the upcoming weekend about the rain chance for the early portion of the work week. So if you're interested in that, check back up with us often. Obviously, I will be here Saturday and Sunday, and we are going to take an extended dive into the forecast once again on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. to talk a little bit more about what's out there on Sunday morning right now, and then what we're expecting to see in the early work week. That should be kind of our best fine-tuned forecast for Monday and for Tuesday. So if you're looking for an extended look, that's where you can find me on Sunday morning, 11 a.m. right here on 13 WMAZ+. And then obviously you can join us for the weekend shows all weekend long. But hopefully you're enjoying your restful holiday weekend. Hopefully if you're out Black Friday shopping today that you have a jacket with you. And other than that, I will see you tomorrow morning on 13 WMAZ and then at 11 a.m. on Sunday on 13 WMAZ+. Have a great weekend.